As the Lincoln wheat cent continued to circulate through the early decades of the 20th century, the conditions that created extreme rarity began to intensify. And nowhere is this more evident than in the coins produced during times of war, economic uncertainty, and rapid industrial change. By the late 1930s and early 1940s, the United States was preparing for global conflict, and the demand for metal became a national priority. Copper, the primary component of pennies, was needed for ammunition, wiring, and military equipment, forcing the U.S. Mint to experiment with alternative materials. This led to one of the most famous and misunderstood coins in American history, the 1943 Lincoln cent, struck not in copper, but in zinc-coated steel. While hundreds of millions of steel cents were produced and most are common today, a tiny number of copper pennies were mistakenly struck in 1943 when leftover bronze planchets from the previous year were accidentally fed into the presses. These accidental strikes created what would become the most valuable Lincoln wheat cents ever known. The 1943 bronze penny is not valuable because it was planned, but because it was never supposed to exist. Fewer than 24 authentic examples are believed to survive, and each verified coin has sold for astronomical prices, with some auction results exceeding $1 million. These pennies are so valuable that they have become the subject of fakes, myths, and legends. Yet their existence is well documented, and their value continues to rise as collectors compete for ownership of one of the greatest minting accidents in U.S. history. The wartime chaos that produced the 1943 bronze cent also led to the opposite error the following year, when the mint returned to copper-based planchets in 1944. A small number of steel blanks from 1943 remained in the system, and were mistakenly used to strike 1944 Lincoln cents. These 1944 steel pennies are nearly as rare as their 1943 bronze counterparts and are equally prized by collectors. Their value comes from the same principle. They represent a moment when the mint's transition between materials was imperfect, leaving behind physical evidence of that transition. When authenticated, these coins have sold for hundreds of thousands of dollars, and like the 1943 bronze cent, they are closely guarded, meticulously studied, and fiercely contested whenever one appears on the market. Beyond the famous wartime metal errors,